Greetings to all. A little more than 6 months ago have passed since the release of the sequel to the story about Cal Kestis called Star Wars Jedi Survivor. The game has become truly gorgeous in terms of plot and atmosphere, but absolutely terrible on the technical side. Even now, so much time later, Electronic Arts has not completely corrected the situation, and apparently they will never fix it. Nevertheless, the adventure of Cal Kestis was originally conceived as a trilogy, so the development of the third part began almost immediately after the release of the second and maybe even earlier. Moreover, both of these released games have already generated good sales, and although we have never been disclosed of the amount of money they earned, I can say for sure that the series brought an incredibly huge profit, which successfully convinced Lucasfilm to launch a pipeline for the production of new games in the hope of snatching the same amount of money. That's why we already have 3 big games in development. This is the remake of KOTOR, Eclipse and Outlaws. For several months there have been various rumors about the third part. However, relatively recently we received official confirmation that its development has begun. The news was shared by Cameron Monaghan himself. If anyone doesn't know, this is the actor who gave the appearance, voice and even movements to Cal Kestis. So, Cameron said that he and the development team from Respawn Entertainment are already working hard on the continuation of the Jedi Survivor. In other words, on the third part of the series, and this part will be the last one, the final story of Cal Kestis and the company. However, the release of the game will take place no earlier than in 2026 or even 2027. In addition, Respawn Entertainment is going to fix all the errors and no longer allow the game to come out in poor technical condition. But there is also bad news as well. Respawn Entertainment has lost its game director and the main ideological inspirer of the project in the person of Stig Asmussen. Previously, he worked on the first parts of God of War and later led the development of Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. According to the authoritative Bloomberg portal, Stig left Respawn Studio because he decided to move on and write new stories. Like this is the only reason, but we know that all this is complete crap, and most likely he left the company because of disagreements with the publisher or because he messed up a lot somewhere. It's just that the publisher didn't shout about it and decided to hush up everything in a good way so as not to raise a scandal. Think for yourself. You are heading an extremely successful series of games, initially conceived it as a trilogy, and then suddenly, right before the last part, you decide that you don't want to continue working, and in general, it's time to do something new. Therefore, I'm betting on disagreements with the leadership. But what exactly caused these disagreements? It is not yet known, and it is unlikely to become known before the release of the game. You can write your suggestions in the comments. Let's try to get to the bottom of it together. And by the way, last summer, Respawn Entertainment began to significantly expand the staff and posted ads on various sites indicating that they were looking for a senior visual effects artist and a senior combat system designer. It is noted that the latter should have experience in designing and implementing heroes, opponents and bosses, as well as have a great interest in hand-to-hand combat games. Apparently, the developers plan to make the combat system even better, despite the fact that it is already pretty good. Okay, the most important thing is that the development of the third part has begun. And speaking of the sequel, there is no need to look back and say that it will become a failure just because the optimization of Jedi Survivor left much to be desired. I'm sure Respawn Entertainment will keep their promise and fix everything, but the final word always remains with the publisher in the person of Electronic Arts. If they allocate enough resources to developers and do not drive them forward, the game as well as optimization will turn out good. And while we are waiting for its release, let's talk about the plot and other things. As we remember, Jedi Survivor ended with the fact that the traitor Bode Akuna was punished to the fullest extent of the Jedi law, and his little daughter Kata joined Cal, Merrin and Grizz, and this clearly affected the story of the third part, namely the relationship between teacher and student. For sure, Cal Kestis will become the girl's mentor, and in the new part we will be moved forward a few years again. When Kata has already matured, Grizz will set up a new saloon on Tanalorr, and Cal and Merrin will become even more tired of life. I think we are waiting for a repetition of the God of War concept, only instead of Kratos, Cal and instead of Atreus, Kata. That's how, in my opinion, the gameplay of the third part is built on. Cal, remembering how Master Tapau taught him, will try to behave the same way with the girl, and every time she will do anything she will remember how Castus killed her father. To which he will continue to answer, "He betrayed us, betrayed you, accept it." And maybe at some point a new game villain, whom we don't know yet, will try to play on this and lure Kata to the dark side, and Cal, who is very attached to her, will give everything to prevent her from falling in disgrace. But will he stand on his own? If Fallen Order was such a kind tale about a young immaculate Jedi, then Jedi Survivor showed how Cal Kestis falls into the fiercest rage at moments, and at the ISB station, he just gave free rein to emotions and surrendered to the dark side, tearing the entire garrison there to pieces. Maybe in the third part something will happen that will finally push him to the dark side, and then Kata will have to save him and not vice versa. Well, don't forget about Darth Vader, who became the main guest of the program in both parts. First, he unwound Castus like a puppy, then he showed up at the temple on Jedi and killed Seri. And I really want him to look into the third part, only this time I would like to see a real equal duel between him and Castus. Perhaps this is how Cal will die, because once he has to be taken out of the main story, no matter how sad it is. Of course, I want him to one day become the hero of some TV series or a Star Wars movie, at least in the Bad Batch, but Kathleen Kennedy made it clear that Lucasfilm did not want to add Cal anywhere other than the game. It's weird and sad. Anyway, it's good that the development of the third part has started, and it will be even better if the game really comes out without any problems and becomes a worthy conclusion to a successful series. We hope and believe in that. Write in the comments what you personally expect from the continuation of the Jedi Survivor and what plot we can expect in this game. And of course, subscribe to the channel, like and share the video with your friends. Thank you all so much for watching. May the Force be with you.